So I'm here with Rebecca as part of our Black History Month series to talk a bit more about what Black History Month means to her and all those kinds of good things. So Rebecca, welcome.
Hi.
Can you tell me a bit about yourself
and
your ethnicity and your cultural heritage?
Yeah, so I'm Rebecca. I'm 20 years old. I'm at UWS. I'm in my 4th year studying society, politics and policy, pretty much social sciences. I would say that I'm Burundian, which is really small place besides Rwanda, so East African. That's what I would say would be my heritage, Burundian, yeah.
Okay. Well, I hear notes of Scottish in your accent, so tell us a bit about how you got that accent.
Oh, do you hear Scottish?
Yeah.
Really? Okay.
Definitely.
Really?
Yeah.
I get told that I don't have a Scottish accent.
Really? Okay, maybe to a foreigner like me you do.
I got told that. They were telling me that, it's weird that you don't have a Scottish accent, but
interesting.
It comes and goes maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
So tell me a bit about how you potentially got this lilt of a Scottish accent or not. I hear you moved here at the age of 3.
I think it was like 2 or 3. I think. I was really young. I came here speaking fluent French, but obviously with trying to learn English, I had to kind of surrender the French part and be like, okay, I'm gonna have to learn English. So I kind of forgot French. So I've been in Glasgow for most of my life. And I've been with other Scottish students from nursery to university, so I feel like that's where my accent comes from. I would say that sometimes when I'm talking to other people, it may not sound as strong, so yeah.
I understand that. And so how do you feel like growing up in Scotland but feeling Burundian has impacted your sense of self and your identity? How's it sound?
I feel like compared to other Africans, let's say Nigerians and Congolese people, where there's a lot of them everywhere, being Burundian, it's I've had to learn, especially now being 20, I'm Burundian. You don't you're gonna have to accept it, because I feel like whenever I tell people where I'm from, they're like, where is that? And I have to bring out a map and just be so it's here, this is what we do, and all of that. So I feel like I've learned to enjoy having those conversations instead of thinking it's a burden to sit there and explain it to them, and just kind of be you can't accept everyone's gonna know Burundi, it's okay. So yeah.
Is there a particular fact about Burundi that you enjoy sharing and that you'd like to share now?
I would just say East Africans, just to know if someone's from Burundi or East Africa, just look at the forehead. We've got big foreheads. And that's just the biggest sign. And that's just when you know they're East African. So, yeah.
As I said before, our topic today is Black History Month. So can you tell me a bit about what Black History Month means to you?
Yeah. I'd say Black History Month to me is a reminder to celebrate myself. I feel like it's not, it's a once a year thing for me. I feel like it's just that reminder that, keep going, keep celebrating yourself, keep engaging with all these beautiful Black people that you're surrounded, whether it's your family, famous people, whatever. And I feel like it's not just to celebrate things slavery and all these things that we've kind of stepped away from as Black people, but I feel like it's to also celebrate just what we're achieving now in today's society. I feel like it's also not just to look back, but look to the future. What can we do as Africans, yeah, pretty much that.
You use the word we a lot, and I think that's really interesting. So do you think it's a community effort? And who is that we?
I feel like it's just everyone. It's not just Black people, but even white people, everyone that just wants to celebrate Black history, I feel like, say we, because, it is a community, and no matter if you're not surrounded by that community, whether in your school or your workplace, there's social media, there's movies that reflect that you're part of this community. There's a lot of different things, so yeah.
You bring up a really important point about like the ways that you kind of like access knowledge about this month, social media and things. Is there anything that you've seen out and about, and this deviates from what we're talking about slightly, but is there anything you've seen out and about that around Black History Month that you think particularly works quite well, is particularly interesting, or is particularly like developing that sense of community that you just...
I feel like the discussion about hair is like something that I'm really engaging with. I feel like Black History Month right now, a lot of people are trying to share this knowledge about our hair, you know, why we wear hairstyles like this, you know, protective styles, and people just explaining like their experience with their own hair, you know, loving it and all of these things. And I think it's a beautiful thing, because with like society cancelling people and everything because, I don't know, Kim has cornrows or something, it's really nice to see that not everyone's trying to judge people, but they're trying to share that knowledge, with other people. So yeah.
I love what you said about hair. So you also just mentioned Kim. So which Black person inspires you when you think about Black History Month?
Black History Month. Although he's dead, I would say Chadwick. Black Panther. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like he inspired me a lot this year with just, I feel like it's not just his role as Black Panther, but I think his ability to persevere through like a sickness, and also being Black and just this with fame as well, if that makes sense. So it's like he was able to persevere with just both these two factors, being sick, having cancer, but also being a Black man and trying to be an actor and trying to achieve all these things. And I'm like, you know, when people were making fun of him and all these things, you know, it amazes me, like he's still done all these roles and stuff like that. But other than Black Panther and Chadwick, I would say like just the people around my life, like the everyday people, my friends, my sisters, you know, a lot of people inspire me. Another person that really inspires me is just one of my best friends, and her commitment to just her university and just Black history as well. She's creating a lot of events right now, and she's inspiring me a lot to just, you know, take opportunities like this to just speak about my experiences and everything. So yeah.
That's really exciting. Do you want to give her a little plug?
Yeah, so her name is Samantha Leconde. I think she's one of the organizers for, I think it's called Black ED on Instagram. It's a movement at Edinburgh University. So yeah, check her out.
Cool, thank you for that. So you mentioned Chadwick Boseman and like how difficult that him being a Black actor and like sickness and just dealing with those two things at the same time.
Yeah.
Have you ever faced discrimination or prejudice because of your ethnicity or cultural heritage?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I would say like high school. Weirdly enough, how I experienced prejudice was not in a way that a lot of people face it. Whereas I was like the only Black girl in my year. So a lot of times I would be asked to, you know, go on trips a lot, you know, and I'd be like, why am I getting asked to go on this trip again, you know, kind of thing. But I realized that, you know, in a weird way, it was like they were being prejudiced, but the impact it had on me may not have been considered negative, but the only reason I was there was to represent the diversity that we didn't really have, but they wanted to kind of show that. I've also like just faced it in just places like Paisley. You know, I went on a bus and someone started just insulting me because of my race, and yeah, things like that happen a lot. But yeah, I've got a lot of examples, but yeah, I think that's about it. Yeah.
Both examples that you just mentioned are really interesting because they're really different type of examples.
Yeah.
But starting with the first one, when did you realise that it was a negative kind of reason that they wanted, a positive but negative reason that they wanted?
I feel like I realised it when I realised that when I looked back at like high school and everything, I was just like, you know, why was I getting asked to go on these trips if these trips were for people that, you know, weren't doing so well and they needed this? And if I'm doing so well, why was it I was constantly, if this trip was only for, you're only supposed to go to it once, why was I there all the time, you know? And I feel like although it was positive, yeah, it was a trip and everything, as I got older, it's kind of like, but the only reason you were there was most likely because of your race, you know? Yeah. And I feel like as well with sports and everything, the assumption of just, you know, you should do sports because you're black, or you should join the team, the athletics team, and all these other things because they assume that you're the best, you know, like you're the best. And it's like, no, you know, I'm not that good at 200 meters. Like, I'm not that good. So it was like that pressure all the time, you know, you should enter this race and everything. And I'm like, I don't want to be a runner, you know. So when I left high school, I was just like, I felt like it was just so funny to look back at that, like being pressured to run these races and all these things and being treated as if you were Usain Bolt, but you weren't, you know. So it was hard, but I feel like when I look back, I'm happy it did happen, because it kind of allowed me today to kind of be like, okay, you're gonna have to learn to love your identity for just what it truly is, just from your personality, maybe not just for your race, because that's what other people have done. They've used you because of your race. So yeah, it's kind of developed me, I guess. So yeah.
I understand. And the second example,
yeah,
like that's really what versus racist. How did that make you feel? And did you feel? Yeah, how did that make you feel?
I feel like with what I've experienced and just saw from like other people experiencing it, I feel like it was very numb response. Like, and I feel like personally I'm very numb to these things, because it's like I've got so many memories of this happening, you know, whether it was to my friend or my dad or my brother. I've seen it all happen. So when it happens to me, it's kind of like in my head, I know what just happened, but my response to it is really numb, and I just move on, you know. So even when I got asked this question, I was kind of like thinking, and I was just like, okay, I know that you're very numb to these things, but it's happened, you know, kind of thing. And I think it's like my reaction to it was just like what's the point? Like, you know, I'm not gonna argue with an old man, you know. So I just sat back down, and I was with my friend, and we were just so like, you know, we laughed out of just being the response, just laugh, because you just don't know what to do. You know, you don't know, you're on a bus, you don't know who else who's also on the bus is a racist as well, you know. So you just always have to be safe with just how you're going to respond to it as well. So yeah.
Yeah, and you described that as being more recent, that particular incident. So, and then you talked about how you've seen it with your dad and your friends. So do you think things have changed? Would you say that they have?
Yeah, I think things have really changed. But I feel like there is still some patterns of racism. I think it's maybe not as obvious anymore. It's very hard. I think sometimes you have to sit there and maybe break it down. Is this racism or not? But I think also just social media and everything has helped a lot with educating people. I feel like a lot of people are coming to see that, you know, I've been racist and I need to apologize. Like, that's happened to me, where someone genuinely messaged me and was like, I'm sorry for just the comments that I've made to you and everything. So when that happened, I was like, yeah, like there's a change, because people are taking accountability, and it's happening everywhere. So yeah, I would say it changes. No, it has changed. It has changed.
And it's a positive change.
Yeah, it's a positive change, you know. And I feel like if we focus on the positive, if you just focus on the positive, you will see it. Of course, there's still weird things that are happening to black people across, but it's like you really just got to pick and choose, you know, where you want to put your emotion and everything too, because like if you get so attached to what's going on, like, you're not going to live your life. And I feel like that's something I had to tell myself, especially during COVID with a lot of things happening. It was just like, you can't attach yourself to that, because you're just going to live what those people have lived. And it's like, although it's not you physically, you're going to live it, like, emotionally. So it's kind of like having to just stop sometimes and just look at the positive. You know, you've got a lot of people that are around you that are always celebrating you, even though they're not black, you know, all these things. So yeah.
No, that's really interesting. A little bit of self-love.
Yeah.
That is needed.
Yeah, definitely in a time like this, you know, I feel like there's a lot of self-love, and I feel like a lot of times with Black History Month, it's like what a lot of people need is just self-love, to not only identify with your blackness, but every other thing that adds to you as well, you know, so that when all these things are being attacked, you know, you still remember that's just a part of you. I feel like that's what Black History Month is reminding you about as well, with just the different things that it just celebrates, you know, actors, painters, all these things, you know, so yeah.
So just returning to the theme of Black History Month and how it as a subject is treated, and you spoke a bit about that, and what do you think the future holds for the conversation? What would you like to see from Black History Month going forward?
I feel like with Black History Month, I feel like a lot needs to be done with just Scotland celebrating Black History Month. I feel like compared to like places like London and comparing to places like America, I feel like there's a lot to be done, and I see that things are getting done, but I feel like we've got to take it a bit higher, you know, let's just go for it with Black History Month. I feel like we're still kind of just, let's just do this, but I feel like we should just really pursue Black History Month for what it is and not hold back, to be honest, and just go all out for Black History Month. The same way we go all out for Independence Days for our countries you come from. So it's like we should keep the same energy, I guess, when it comes to Black History Month, because it's celebrating all of us, not just one country. And I feel like that's something that we need to do collectively as Africans and just as Black people, you know. So yeah.
Well, thank you so much, Rebecca, for joining me here. And yeah, have a great day.
Thank you for having me.